Well, I've been in Europe for a couple months. My friend is the Crown Prince in Bahrain and invited me to the Formula One, so I kind of started the trip there. And of course, Bilderberg is in Greece. I have friends who are part of that organization. The Global Climate Change Summit is going on in Copenhagen, so I had to shoot up there to meet some people and find out what the real scoop is behind the scenes that you're not hearing about on the news. The Formula One was in Monte Carlo, which is always a good fun, of course, and a lot of people come to the film festival in Cannes. So during this time of year, I like to be in Europe because I can meet a lot of people, get a lot of background information, a lot of behind-the-scenes inside information. I'll tell you what, some of the conversations you have on the 200-foot yachts off the coast of Monaco, you can't believe what really goes on behind closed doors. And this is what you're exposing, Alex. I'm a big fan of your documentary work. You know, I watched Endgame years ago when it first came out, the Obama Deception. If people haven't watched that, they need to watch that, both of those documentaries, to really understand what's going on. And the fact is, people are being misled. And once you have your eyes open, now you're empowered and you can do things that you need to do to make your life better and protect your financial future for you and your family. Yeah, I'll give you a lot of information. I happen to have a lot of inside connections all around the world, also in Malaysia and China, and many of these people are members of royal families, which there's a reason why I know a lot of these people. I've just been very fortunate over the years to make these connections and have these contacts. Well, the specific goal is when you sit down with these people, and I've traveled the world with these guys, you know, they really, I would say they're not, you know, they're not Dr. Evil. They're not sitting there planning on wiping out the population. In a weird way, they think what they're doing is for the best for everyone. But they do categorically believe there's two classes of people on planet Earth. There's the ruling elite class, and they do believe, and you know, Henry Ford talked about this, Andrew Carnegie at the turn of the century talked about this, and throughout history. They do believe that through genes and DNA, even Donald Trump has said it over and over again, you have to have good genes, otherwise you're not going to make any money. They believe it's genetic. And so they believe there's two classes of people, that there's a ruling class by genetics that are powerful enough and genetically designed to rule the other people that are nothing more than the worker bees. That's really what they believe. Now, right? I mean, I'm telling you, that's where they're at.
But I have ABC News here, and Times of London, billionaire club and bid to curb overpopulation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been sitting on the boats off the coast of Barbados with the guys who basically said we need to get 2/3 of the dumb people off the planet. I mean, I've been in the meetings, and it wasn't in an evil way. It's a matter-of-fact kind of way that they think it's for the benefit of planet Earth and themselves.
Have they tried to buy you off?
Well, they're not concerned, quite frankly, so much with spreading the word because, as you just said, their belief is no one's going to listen anyway. So who cares? It's like, you know, you're more of an annoyance than anything, but actually they believe that what you're doing and what I'm doing is in a way to their benefit because we're desensitizing people to these realities.
Yes,
absolutely.
And
so I've been told that's why I still get invited on the yachts.
Yeah, I've been told that too, and yeah, wow, unbelievable.
But in terms of economics, you know, I mentioned to you after the break that I was talking to George Soros. He says, you know, we're and I know a lot of this inside information as well. We're making more money now because of the crisis than you would imagine. I mean, we had bank stocks shorted huge in the fall before they all crashed 90%. I mean, the fortune we made just shorting the bank stocks was off the charts. I mean, that was the simplest, goofiest thing in the world. And what at Bilderberg we talked about is the fact that the media is so, you don't even have to do anything to the guys on CNBC or MSNBC. They're so stupid. And this is what people don't realize. I was on Fox with Bill O'Reilly and Judge Napolitano. They tell you in advance, we are told we have to take this viewpoint. And the information people are getting from the mainstream media is so skewed. I would tell everyone, stop watching the news on television. Just shut it up. You are being brainwashed beyond belief.
Kevin, did I hear you correctly? Were you at Bilderberg?
Yeah, I was in Greece. And because I have friends who were there. Here's the funny thing, and people listening. All people, if you know the inside scoop of things, making money is the easiest thing in the world to do. That's why guys like, I mean, the economic downturn doesn't affect people at the highest levels.
You can even tell the public the media is lying to them. They don't want to believe it.
No, they don't want to believe it. It's really comical. But let me give you, you asked earlier about the groups. Both Bilderberg, Council on Foreign Relations, and a bunch of other groups. In these circles, I would suggest to you that there are two factions, a small faction and a big faction. The big faction categorically believes that they are genetically superior than the rest of the population. But there is a small faction, and this faction are the ones that are feeding me information, probably Daniel Estulin information, and so forth. This small faction are people that really have come to the conclusion that no, yeah, some people are smarter than others. Some people are more talented than others. Some people are more, motivated to work hard than others. Some people are lazy. Some people aren't. But everyone should be allowed to succeed or fail based on their own choices and initiative. There shouldn't be two classes. There always will be, but everybody should have the same opportunity. And that's where there's a split and a division right now at the highest levels.
Now, I've been told that it's mainly the younger crowd, and by that, kind of like the Google CEOs and people who are elitists, but they say, come on, we don't have to wipe everybody out, and let's give people a chance. And then there's kind of the old Rockefeller faction that is, I'm 94, launch the operation immediately.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the reason why. You're 100% correct there. If you look at the older crowd, they married only within themselves in that crowd. If you remember, you watched the movie Titanic, you had the first class cabin, and the people who were on the first class deck never mingled ever. You didn't even shake hands with somebody who wasn't first class. And so throughout history, you married and you socialized only with people who were of the same, quote, genetic or DNA structure. Now, there is a lot more mingling of classes, and therefore you get the Google guys or Michael Dells, people that were born on the opposite side of the tracks but are making some serious money, and they're not, quote, the right DNA. They're not the right genetics to the older crowd, like the Rockefellers and so forth. And so that's where you have the division, and that's where you have the split. And it's a very interesting time because some of these conversations, and I've been in these conversations, are really thought-provoking and intriguing conversations. I believe that, look, if you have 1,000 people, give everybody the same chance, everybody the same information, because guess what? The smart ones who really want to work hard will succeed more than the other people. But everybody should have the same opportunity. The bottom line is there's 6 major areas of control that this group has been focused on for forever. Number one is the money supply. So in 1913, when the Fed was created, they got the money supply covered in the U.S. So the number one goal is always to control the money. Number two is you got to control the media. Because if you control television, radio, newspapers, magazines, then you control the thoughts and feelings of the population. The third thing they got to do is control drugs and health care. I'm in Germany right now. I'm talking to guys who are 80 years old. Now, people are a little healthier here. They ride bikes. They hike up the mountain at 80 years old. No one's taking any drugs. But these guys and gals that I'm chatting with here in Germany were around during Adolf Hitler. And you know what they tell me? They look at me like, they say, are you Americans crazy? You are doing the exact same thing that we did under Adolf Hitler. We wanted to give up our freedoms so that he could protect us. You are doing the exact same thing in America. And it's common knowledge here from the people that were around during the regime of Adolf Hitler that America and Britain are becoming this generation's most totalitarian and tyrannical fascist governments on planet Earth.